Welcome back to Lorehammer, another session of the Stone and Steel RPG. An RPG where there's a bunch of Votann running around trying to find some type of legendary forge. We got some players from the Discord joining us today. We'll go around. Welcome Dark Melon, who's playing Omega 8.
Hi, hi.
We also got Icarus, who's playing some crazy birth number. I think it's his birthday. I can probably swear, so I'm not going to say it, but we'll just call
it is my
11.
birthday. Yeah, call him 11, but I'm playing the Krieger.
Yep. And then we got Jax playing the Eldar, whose name is Echo.
Hey, how's it going?
And finally, Veltroid, who is playing a fellow Votann, whose name is Thurman Steelfist.
Steelfist!
So, where we last left the show, the RPG, the crew was assorted. They got a letter in the mail, and they all decided to go try to make their own way in the universe by joining this Votann ship, who is kind of revealed that he might have legendary coordinates to an ancient secret forge. So the crew is now kind of prepared for that. We're using the D6 rule set if anyone cares to know, so we'll be kind of rolling some dice, and it's not going to be super rules heavy, but that will be happening, so pretty cool. I'll read you the little intro here of this mission, and then we can dive into it. The crew journeys begins with rumors and hints, a story passed down in Votann history about the Ghost Forge, a legendary lost facility containing knowledge and technology of untold power, only whispered about in kin tales and barely mentioned in ancient data. The Forge is said to hold technology that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. Captain Brock Stonevein has acquired a lead, but it's vast, or vague at best, cryptic information received from either a rival Votann captain or a fragment of an ancient data slate. The crew sits in the mess hall of the Ironfather's Resolve, discussing and getting to know each other more. The crew looks around the table at the varied members, a squat, a guardsman, a cyborg, and an Eldar. The drinks have just arrived, and the conversation has just begun.
Omega 8 will sip on their drink, and we'll just sort of be looking around, just taking in the environments, just seeing, wondering why there's a Kriegsman on board, and otherwise not doing very much.
The Eldar is kind of gonna look at the other Votann, Steelfist, and kind of smile a little bit and kind of say hey, I am sorry for last time when we last spoke. I was a little nervous for the safety of my acquaintance, and I wish for a new start.
I don't know you. I don't want to know you. I will work with you, and that is that. My captain has spoken to me, and I understand that you are of slave stock to the mechanical creature in the back there.
Well, slave isn't very the right term, I would admit. Though I am in his debt, however. I must admit, though, it might appear that way, and I am sorry for my initial suspicions of you and the captain, and I would formally like to apologize again. You may not, care, but I would just like to know that you understand that I am finally, gets a little embarrassed, not knowing how to talk to, this Votann. It's anyway, where are those drinks?
The drinks around the table as you peer down into your cup is a fizzy, thick beverage. It almost looks like some type of motor oil, in consistency. That's thick, but fizzy.
Oh shit, well there's the drink. And just takes a sip of it.
It tastes surprisingly good as it rolls down your throat, slowly, like molasses.
The Krieger looks around the room and slowly grabs a thick straw out of his pocket, inserts it into the drink, and attaches it to his gas mask. This is a very strange concoction, but it's not to my dislike.
I kind of just look at the Krieger and just kind of smile, and I stop. And then I stop smiling and say so Krieger, human, if I may ask, why don't you ever take off your helmet?
Well, I would say it's more of a cultural thing. Many Kriegers never take off their masks unless they are alone. It's more of a principle. It keeps the aura of Well, being a Kriegsman.
Very interesting. I have, quite frankly, never met a Kriegsman before. Do you mind telling me a few stories of your people, perhaps?
Well, we are mostly born in a vat, and we are shipped off to wars and die. There are not really many stories.
Very depressing?
Why would it be depressing? To serve my life to the glorious Emperor, and if my death can benefit the better kinds of humanity, then I would do so gladly.
Tell me more about this Emperor. Why are you so willing to throw everything away for him?
Well, he is the creator of humanity. He is the leader of our Imperium. He is the shining light that let us all prosper and go through the galaxy. He is the beacon of humanity. Without him, we would not be able to travel the stars because we would have no location of where we are.
He sounds like a wonderful fellow. I really hope one day I could come across him on better terms.
Well, I don't think that would be very likely. He is on the throne and kind of dead.
Oh, well, no matter. My people probably would not benefit from any more interactions with your emperor.
The mess hall falls to an awkward silence, and you notice it wasn't just around your table. Standing in the corner, a towering Kroot, first mate of the Ironfather resolve, strode in, his feather crest casting shifting shadows around the dim lights. His keen predatory eyes scanned the crew, each one snapping to attention at his presence. In a low gravelly voice, Borka announced,
Tomorrow we will reach the starport. The captain has a task, something not just for any crew, but for those with the nerve to strike a deal.
The Kroot's beak clicked slightly as he continued.
We're going to find the rogue traitor, one with a certain item and a captain needs. The data slate with the last known coordinates of the Ghost's Forge. The captain wants terms that will benefit the resolve, but she needs tact. The traders have eyes on every credit and aren't easily swayed, so make ready steel writs and polish your tongues, and have all else keep your hands close to your weapons. We'll be landing at dawn.
Borka's krills rustle as he kind of now gives you the floor to ask him anything.
I kind of just like step up and like talk, like look at the Kroot and like politely bow, and I get back up and like I ask like, you say a rogue trader is already in possession of this item we need. Must we come to conflict, or will we be able to negotiate with this human?
Well, I know I have negotiated with many rogue traitors.
You can tell the Kroot's voice, he's not used to speaking Gothic, High Gothic, or whatever kind of standard dialect is in that area.
But the captain needs his data slate no matter the cost. It is up to you to determine the best way to get it. That is why we hired you.
I kind of look at Omega 8 and like I just like wait for any like reaction from him.
Omega 8 will sort of shift around a bit, almost as if he's contemplating what to do next. He'll then look at the Kroot and then write down some small scribbles on a piece of paper he's found, maybe like a serviette he's found on the table. And he will then turn to Echo and say, I believe that diplomacy may be the best option in this scenario. These rogue traders understand currency as their form of deity. This would be the most likely cause of... And then Omega 8 will just sort of trail off again, focusing more on the paper than he is actually on speaking.
Roll a perception test. What do we have for that? Just roll a d6 to see if you notice that the Kroot Borka has noticed that you're writing stuff down.
All right. A 5.
Yeah, so you definitely notice that, like, you see the wrestling krills as soon as that pen hits the paper. Like, he doesn't like what you're doing right now, for sure. But he doesn't say anything.
Are there any other questions?
He looks over at call name 11.
The Krieger stands up and says, well, if anything goes bad, I will always be there to intimidate people.
You don't look very intimidating to me.
Well, I would be a lot more intimidating with my hot rod lasgun to your face.
With that, his quills bristle like,
You better watch your tone with me. Do
Then
you
I
know
will ask
who
the
I
same.
am? I'm the first mate of this ship. I could have you jettisoned in a second. Mind your tone.
you can clearly
I
see
was-
he is agitated, like quills all up. I'll make you roll a test now too, and this will be like, I think I have courage as one of the skills, so if you do have any of these skills that I kind of name, you can add like +1 dice roll, but
No. But I do have an intimidation skill.
no, that's quite the opposite of what
No.
I'm trying to get you to do
Opposite.
here.
All right. Yeah, I'm rolling a 6.
Okay, so you're clearly, you get his warning, but you're not afraid of him, But you understand
Well,
the seriousness of like, this guy could have you killed in a second, but you're not. It's up to you if you want to do anything with that.
The Krieger looks him dead in
yeah,
the face and says, well, I was hired for a specific task, and I am here to do that task.
Then why are you wasting time messing with me, boy?
With that, he kind of just
I kind of walk
completely
over.
shuts you down, and like he does not acknowledge you again. You have clearly made an enemy with him today, with your tone.
I kind of walk up to the crew, and I just like look at him and like kind of like politely bow again, and I just say like, "Forgive my acquaintance. He had a bit too much to drink." And I kind of just like laugh like a little nervously.
The Kroot will spit on the floor, like not at you, but just like kind of in an area, not at anyone, just kind of on the floor. He's like,
He better watch his tongue.
and as you see, somebody can roll a perception test, maybe a party-wide.
A 2. Oof.
If anyone has a perception skill, we can bump that to a 3, and you'll notice something.
I have a search.
That
I have
will
a
do.
search skill.
Yeah, that will do. So
Yeah,
you
okay, that bumps up.
specifically notice Omega 8 that spit has started to melt a little bit on like on the metal table that it hit.
Omega 8 will notice this and will just seems to get slightly more excited by this and will start scribbling a little bit faster.
Boric turns to the Eldar.
I don't know which one of you are in charge, but you best keep this in line. I will not have this type of behavior on my ship. Do you know how many mutinies I've quelled? Ha!
He's very agitated at this point with the scribbling of the notes and he's agitated.
All right.
I kind of like back down and just like walk over back to like Omega 8, like to like sit right beside him.
All right. Boric turns and leaves the chamber, and as he's leaving, he doesn't look like he's already walking away. He's like,
You have your orders.
I whisper to my teammates, I'm sorry, guys. I am still adjusting to this new variety of species.
This is understandable.
All good, my friend. If you may not try to intimidate the crew. Maybe it is in all of our best interests that you kind of stop being Kriegish.
Well, I must
No offense.
disappoint you in that way, but that's going to be very hard.
Oh well.
with that, the conversation kind of, picks back up around the bar and around your table. The tensions kind of fade away, and you guys end up spending as much time in there before you leave as possible.
Omega 8 will he'll look around a bit and wait until the crew has left. I believe his name was Borka.
Yeah.
We'll wait until Borka has left, and we'll then run over to where the spit has hit the floor, and we'll try and take a sample for further study.
Yeah, lucky Borka doesn't see that for sure. But yeah, okay, we'll make note of that. Anyone else want to do anything before this kind of room closes down for the night type thing? Echo.
I kind of just like, while Omega 8 is kind of like trying to get the spit, I like walk over to him and like whisper, "So, what do you think is the matter?"
Please clarify.
Let's put it quite frankly, we have been together for quite a long time. I know when you get excited, I know when you're agitated, and I especially know when you get excited, to put it lightly.
Indeed.
What is the matter with the spit? Why do you want it so much?
The acidity of the spit could be used to further enhance our armor later in case this crew turns out to be hostile. if things, as is usually said by other humans, turn south, then this acid-proof armor would then prove much more efficient to the survival of our little crew.
I kind of like chuckle and just like walk away.
Anything else anyone want to do before this kind of cantina scene ends? Steel Fist.
Well, we've managed to piss off the first mate. I got a good buzz, and now I know who the jackass of the group is. I think I'm going back to my quarters.
The Kriegsmen and Omega 8 are kind of left sitting, the only ones left sitting at the table together. Everyone else has trailed off. Krieger.
I think I will go back to my quarters to put on a new gas filter.
All right. So the night everyone goes back to their quarters, they prepare their kit make sure their pistols have ammo, all that kind of good stuff. They do some prep work. So the next day arrives. Arriving at the spaceport, the crew quickly finds himself caught in a chaotic politics of this neutral space station known as Axiom Terminal. The station is a maze of cold metal decks, multi-tiered promenades, and concealed corridors where rogue traders, explorers, mercenaries, and representatives from all manner of factions cross path and make shady deals. Every hallway is alive with hushed voices. Every bar holds the tale of a lost treasure, ancient relics, and distant wars. However, not everyone on Axiom Terminal is pleased to see that the League of Votann crew is sniffing around. Rogue traders, ever opportunists, see the Votann search as a chance to either gain an ally or perhaps, more appealingly, cut them out and claim the spoils for themselves. Meanwhile, agents of the Adeptus Mechanicus have vested interest in technological secrets that could hint at the STC or other ancient marvels. Each faction has its own motivations and resources, making them both allies and threats. You make your way to the part of the starport, hidden away from the eyes of the others where the meeting spot with the rogue trader is. The four of you arrive there, and no one else is there. It's this dark area, there's crates stacked on the side, and we'll throw it to you. Let's go with Dark Melon.
Omega 8 will sort of look around generally, having done a bit of field work when meeting new xenos. He will look around and make sure there is no ambush set up, there is no traps, or there is nothing suspicious to be seen. And I would like to use my search skill if this is a roll.
Yep, that's a good use. And this is maybe a perfect example of there are going to be times for sure when I tell you to make tests, but then there's also times where definitely jump in and try to make a test like that yourself.
All right, I'll be rolling a 3.
You look around and you're not sure either way if you found anything or not. Everything looks fine, but you definitely didn't find any traces of odd wires, or everything just kind of looks normal here. Echo.
Really quick, I'm this whole time I'm following Omega 8 around. I'm just looking, staring at everybody, just glaring, just making sure nothing shifty is happening. And I wherever he opens something or opens a crate, I check inside it really quick and look out.
Krieger.
I start to sharpen my shovel and say, well, leave it to the rogue trader to always be late.
Steel Fist.
Oh, we came all the way here, and I'm bored out of my tree. I pull out a trinket and I start working on it with my makeshift servo arm.
Cool. You guys wait about another 5 more minutes before the rogue trader and his retinue walk up. You see a man with style and flair. His pants are bright red and his shirt is bright blue. Underneath you can see that he's wearing armor of some type, but you're not sure. It doesn't look bulky or nothing like that. He's wearing a fancy hat. He's got this exotic kind of little pet creature lurking around his feet, this little lizardy type thing kind of following around. You look at the other people in the crew. There's a typical kind of strong, muscular looking guy with a big gun on his shoulder, slung on his shoulder. And there's 3 other guys that are kind of they appear to be wearing some type of uniform, and you can assume that it would be from the rogue trader's kind of house, Steel Fist.
Are there anything on their armor or anything that is easy accessible?
I would roll a search test for that.
Search test. It is a 6.
Yeah, so you definitely notice there seems to be a bunch of badges on the rogue trader that if you got close would only be a matter of a quick handshake and it's yours. You know, there's a little pin clip. Oh, name blanking on what that is. Cufflink is the word. You know, there's cufflinks, there's badges, there's all types of little knickknacks and things like that on them. If only you can get within touching range.
I'm gonna go shake his hand, and I have a stealth, and I'm gonna try and steal one of the pins off of him.
So
Can you roll for me, please?
Yeah, you approach the rogue trader before we get that to roll, but definitely roll it up. You approach the rogue trader, and he's all of a sudden, like, when you make eye contact, you feel nice about yourself for some reason. Like, he's got charisma to him. Hello, welcome. It is good to see you. And this is kind of when you guys shake hands at that moment. He's very open, like he's a friendly man. So what's that dice roll?
That dice roll is a 5.
Yeah, so you are...
And I have 1 for stealth, so it's 6.
Perfect. Yeah, so you are definitely, you shake hands, you make eye contact with them, you put on your smile, and you're able to swipe something off of them. And you feel like you could get almost away with something, like, you know, you go in for one of those dwarven forearm clasps or whatever, so you could get away with something pretty far up. Up to you to choose kind of what. There's pins on his shoulder, there's the cufflink.
No, I just the one thing.
Okay, so you just kind of take the closest thing, which happened to be just his cufflink pin. Well, I hear you guys are here to make a deal with me. I've done many deals with your captain before, and he's a hell of a guy. I mean that in the best way. And he kind of jostles your shoulder, like, you know, like pats you on the back type thing. Echo.
Echo kind of just like walks up like right behind the Votann, like from behind Omega 8, and he just like kind of like looks at the captain, like just like get his attention, like looks him in the eye, and then when he gets his like attention, he like politely like bows, and then he's like, "Oh, my fine sir, how do you do?"
Ah, an Eldar! And most of mankind don't like you, but I've had nothing but good times. I'm doing great. Pleasure to meet you. What is your name?
My name is Echo. Echo from Ayandin. It is a pleasure to meet you. And if he can, he's gonna like try to like charm him.
Yep. Do you have a skill in that?
Icarus. Yes, I do.
A 3.
So it would be a 4.
It's, you know, you can definitely tell, like, he's a likable guy anyways. You know, you haven't done anything too much that anyone else couldn't have done. But you definitely feel like you did gain some favor, you know? And he says, yeah, last mission I was on, I actually had an Eldar with me. It's unfortunate the fate that he met, but a time comes for us all. What about the rest of you? How can we make a deal? I know I have something you want, but what makes you think I want to give it to you? He'll kind of look over at the crew and just kind of make eye contact with everyone, starting with the Skitari.
Omega 8 will go over to the rogue trader and say, "Greetings. I am Omega 8. May I know your name?"
You are the first person to ask that in a long time. Most people just call me the trader, but you can call me. Nah, I'm not gonna tell you. What do you got for me, actually? If you want to know my name beyond that.
Omega 8 will sort of just slowly shake his head and then just walk a bit respectfully backward, sort of signalizing that he doesn't have anything else to offer.
He shifts, trader shifts his eye to, when I say trader too, I mean like trader, not betrayer. I mean a merchant of sorts, as in the rogue trader moniker. He looks at the Kriegsman next.
Ave Imperator. It is very nice to meet a familiar face.
Familiar face? Have we met before?
I meant more of the species.
Well, I don't know what you are under that mask, to be quite honest with you. So, well, it's good to be around fellow humans as well. It's a little odd to say, a little racy of you, but he looks at Steelfist.
I show him this object that I've been working on, and I say, "This is of great value to my people. I created it last night. It is a biological bubble that creates its own atmosphere so you can work outside your ship without needing a power suit of any sort. It allows you the freedom to optimize any kind of turbulence while fixing on your hull."
That is one heck of a device. I sure that wouldn't want to be the first one to try it, but, you know, maybe Maybe there's a place for that somewhere in my arsenal of my kit. I think we should get down to business. That is interesting. I do like that. Listen, I have something you want, and I have a task for you. I don't think anything. He kind of looks over you guys and is like, there's nothing you have on your person that is of value to me. But you can do a task for me. There's a man by the name of Karik, and he owes me. I'm not going to tell you what, but he needs to be dealt with. Now, I don't care how you deal with him. Karik is he's a strong man, but you better also look out for his tongue. But you need to get him to pay me. And when he comes to me, or when I feel like the debt has been resolved in another way, you guys can roll a group perception to see if you kind of pick up on what he's alluding to.
A 6.
Yeah, so you definitely pick up that he's like, also if he ends up dead, that would be pretty cool too. And he kind of says, carries on that thought, and then, yeah, somebody can jump in, either Dark Melon or Beltroid.
This Kark, he is a captain.
Well, he has many different... Captain might be the best way, although it doesn't seem like he owns his ship very long before he tries to acquire someone else's.
Understandable. Does he anger these machine spirits?
A ship floating in the void of space without a hull intact, yeah.
Omega 8 will one of his eyes will sort of blink, almost as if it's signalizing a sort of eye twitching, and will say, this is understandable.
Steel Fist?
I look down towards my pistol, and then I look over to my hammer, which is attached to my belt, and I go, well, sometimes you have to build something, and sometimes you have to kill something.
He clearly enjoyed that, for sure. And because of that, you feel like you just are that much closer to selling him that device you're working on, which we'll talk about later. I will give you this warning, though. If you murder him in cold blood, it won't look favorably upon your Votann captain. Things might fall upon him. Now, we're in the underbelly of this place. There's many ways to kill a man beyond just a pistol. I'll tell you where you can most likely find him, and like I said, either he brings me a new ship, or he becomes like the ship he took of mine. He nods to Omega 8.
This vessel that he took from you, which vessel was this?
It is of no use talking about. It has long been destroyed and lost.
This is most unfortunate.
That's what I thought too.
Perhaps an accident could be arranged. After all, these stations are very poorly maintained.
Excellent. You can see he is like, well, come find me here. He gives you all the details. He gives you information, which I'll share in a second, and all that. And he's about to kind of turn and leave unless anyone else kind of stops him. Okay. Yep, so he turns and leaves. So you kind of guys then go back to your ship, or you guys can stay there even and read through kind of the information that he gets. You are handed a packet of information, like some quirks and flaws of his, kind of his usual haunts and stuff, and some of his allies. Apparently this one likes to drink a lot. Also, he is known for being a very excellent fighter, like swordsman, and he's even like known on the ship, or like there's competitions for like pistol area or sharpshooting and stuff. People are always getting into stuff like that. Instead of darts, they have just lasgun shots, quick draws. So if you try to take him on in close combat or something like that, you know you're going to be in for a time. Other things you notice about him is, clearly what happened was this guy was given a new commission of a ship and lost it, and then it had gotten destroyed, and now the way to deal with him is to either get a new ship or eliminate him. Some of his allies do include the Adeptus Mechanicus. That's kind of what seems to keep him safe on the ship. It just seems like for some reason no one quite knows the relationship there, but there's ties for sure. Do you guys want more information? Maybe like if you want to roll like a dice check of, I don't know what would fit, but Dark Melon, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I would sort of use my biology. I would like to use sort of like my search skill, coupled a bit with my biologist skill, with my biologist quality, to sort of to see if he has any sort of allergies or has some sort of weak, or if there's something he's allergic to that could cause a severe allergic reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be nothing of note. That like he's not lactose intolerant or has a peanut allergy, that's for sure. But having known that, you should roll you should roll a dice to see like your knowledge of poisons, and just kind of, do I think there'd be any stock poisons that kind of go untraceable on this space hub?
That's a 6.
That's a fucking crazy dice generator.
3 times.
You definitely know, like, while he might not be allergic to anything, there are all manner of strange chemical mixtures that go untraceable. And even just through walking through this spaceport to meet the rogue trader, you're like, oh yeah, that guy's sketchy. Oh yeah, that guy, there's no way he's not trying to sell me shit, You definitely know there's opportunity in that way to find some type of chemical.
Omega 8 will look around, and we'll go and try and attempt to purchase a poison.
All right, so that's kind of, we'll come back to you, and you kind of leave the group and go do that. And Echo would follow you as well. Call name 11.
Can I roll a search for what species he is?
Yeah. Well, you don't even have to. That one's a very obvious one. I should have said he is a human. And the other interesting thing to note about him, they have the age written down as over 300, and that kind of catches you. Okay, Steelfist.
Shovelhead, I have a question for you. I'm talking to the Creedsman.
Well, what is the question?
If I fix my device, we can trigger it so we can put them in there and it'll work as a singularity. Whatever we put inside that will happen to him, but it will not affect the starport. We can put a grenade in there. We can put just about anything, and he won't be able to trigger it to stop it from the inside. He'll be trapped inside this bubble, and then when he's done, we can just close it up, and he will become part of the actual device.
Now let's just talk some backstory on your character. He is good with technology and stuff. Like, some of these devices are pretty outlandish. I'm just trying to get a gauge of if this guy, your character, is like a bullshitter and optimistic, or if some of these devices are actually a potential thing he's working on. Because we can make them potential things you're working on. I'll just make those dice rolls very hard. Like the more exotic.
He is a genius craftsman.
Yeah.
Genius craftsman. His skills are stealth, tech use, knowledge, and melee.
Okay.
And for his aspect, it's intelligence.
Okay, so some of these devices then might actually happen, and this is when we roll dice rolls after. Well, when we get to it. You can throw it to Shovelhead, as we call him now, to see what he thinks of your potential plan.
Well, as much as I like the idea, I would keep it as a backup. It is, of course, a spaceport, so I would more prefer to intimidate him to settle his debts than to take drastic measures.
Okay, I'll go with your lead. But I believe if I show him the worth of this item, I could sell it for a good price.
That is not a bad idea.
Maybe just his arm?
Well, that can be arranged. I will prepare my shovel for some extra sharpening.
All right, so the couple locations that he is known to be in, you notice, he goes to a very specific bar, the Black Hole, as they call it. Other places we do know that he has personal quarters here in the Mechanicum district. He seems to be kind of very heavily tied with them, but no one quite knows why or how. And the other place that he is often found is in a casino gambling. The Eldar and the Skitari have already left the party, and maybe we'll come back to you later and just see what these other two want to get up to, and then maybe we'll go that way. So, Veltroid, what do you want to kind of get up to?
I tell the Kriegsman, we have no time to wait for that goddamn mechanical bastard. He is wasting our time. Let's go check out one of these places. If he comes, he comes. If he doesn't, he doesn't. We can do this ourselves.
Well, I say we give it a try.
So which of the places would you want to go? So it's like the Cantina, the Black Hole, or to the Mechanicum Quarter, or to the gambling place?
Yeah, I put my armor on the Kriegsman. We go for a drink and maybe for a fight. with a big smile on my face.
Well, I would request you not to touch me.
Love spurned. Jeez. So you guys make your way to the bar, and it's you arrived at the spaceport in the morning, and by this time it's like early afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. People are starting to fill in. It wouldn't be too unusual to get a drink at this hour. You can start kind of as you approach like the black hole. Somebody guides you in, brings you to a table, and takes your drink order, hands you a menu, all that kind of stuff. We don't need to really do. Icarus.
Is there any corpse starch on the menu?
The waiter. Is that a joke?
Well, do you see me laughing?
I don't think so. I can ask the chef. You made this lady very uncomfortable. This human lady. She doesn't even like bother taking steel fist kind of order. It just was like, whoa, okay. A little bit later, another lady comes and takes her drink order and whatever and brings you stuff. There's no corpse starch here. It's like it wasn't another lady, it was a man. There's no corpse starch here. Just here's your drinks, whatever.
Too bad.
You guys start looking around the room for the description that you seen on the data slate. So let's roll a search test and see if anything happened.
All right. A 4.
In the notes you read that he's tied with the Mechanicum. So you do see a couple Skitarii just sitting like in a booth, not doing anything. You almost think that maybe that could be tied to him, but you don't see him himself. Do you guys want to just chill and wait and just kind of take drinks? Is the concept. Steel Fist.
Shovelhead, why don't you go over there and take a look at see if you hear anything useful?
Well, I will try my best. I approach the booth next to the Mechanicum's booth and sit behind them to try and listen in.
You sit there for about 5 minutes of just them not even moving, just silence. Almost like they're not activated right now, but they are. The lights are on, but nobody's home.
All right. I'll can I go to the barkeep and like roll for like or ask the barkeep if you've seen him?
Yeah, so you go to the barkeep. This is some type of xenos that you haven't seen before. It looks oddly humanoid, and you might even think it's an abhuman even. Like it's that close, but there's also just something like what? Nah, I don't know. You just aren't fully there. But it turns around and is like, "What can I get ya?"
Well, I was wondering if you've seen a certain man.
I see many men. I'm looking at one now. Were you the one that's asking for corpse starch? We don't do that here. You can't eat people here.
Well, forgive me. It's a food of my home, you might say.
Man, that's pretty weird. Well, I don't know if I want to... yeah. The waiter has your order. And with that, he kind of goes back to cleaning cups or just like... something about you look kind of just... and the corpse starch he didn't get. Steel Fist. You've been watching him kind of like sit there. You now watch him like do this interaction. Like, what's up?
I'm going to sit there. I'm going to lower my head and I'm going to use my comms. Hey, mechanical asshole. I'm trying to get you.
Yeah, so gets this like ring on his headset.
Yes. What is the meaning of this interruption?
We need your help at the bar. We might find a lead on some information here. This Kriegsman is a little awkward.
Before you give your answer, I think we almost need to pause and see what you have gotten up to, just to see if you, at this point, have finished your task successfully and found something out. So the scene now shifts to Jax and Omega 8 walking the corridors. Echo is... Man, it's tough with the names. I got Discord names in my head. I got fucking player names. It's fun. But we'll carry on. Echo is with you tagging along. And yeah, it seems like it doesn't take you very long to walk some of the back halls before you kind of realize, yeah, that guy could maybe have something sketchy or, There's 3 different options that you kind of are looking at right now. Option 1 is kind of a human who is like bent over kind of a crate. His clothes are ragged and he's kind of like twitching a little bit and he doesn't look very good. He looks pretty disheveled. The next person that is standing there is kind of this guy in a fancy suit. Like he's got like some money, you know, he's got some weird space ore, some shiny metals around his neck that you can't quite tell where they came from. He's just kind of looking like he's chilling. And also you got an alien in the corner at you know, over somewhere else in the kind of room. And you can tell that alien might have something. You've seen an Eldar before, and you've definitely maybe have seen a Dark Eldar before. So
Omega-8 will sort of look at the first human and then decide that although this person might have a type of poison, it would probably take too long to work and would probably drain their bank accounts before it would drain their life. Omega-8 will actually will head towards the Xenos and will sort of ask what they're selling. Yeah.
As you get closer to him, the air almost gets colder, it feels like, and as you get closer, it gets darker, it seems, the closer you get. And then, just when you are just like 5 feet away, it gets like so cold and so dark, and like you kind of close your eyes and shake your head, and when you open them, they're gone. The Xenos, that one is gone. But you feel like, you're feeling more confident that was some type of Dark Eldar.
Noted. And Omega-8 will head to the first person, perhaps hoping that the poison might actually be much quicker.
So the person's tweaking and like doesn't notice you walk up.
Greetings.
The disheveled man looks up at you. Oh, hey, it's been so long. Nice to see you, Jim. Hi, Jimmy. And he's just kind of not with it, clearly. He's kind of pulling at your pant leg there, like, you know, stroking your metal toes and stuff. Can
I use my biologist quality and my search skill to sort of see, you know, what's the general vibe on this guy? You know, like what is he sort of on?
That was a 5.
A 5. So you definitely know you've seen people like this before in your many travels. Working in manufactorums, this is a very kind of common drug. It's like a happiness drug. You don't quite recall the name of it, but you definitely know its effects. You know, it goes by many names, so it's like one guy's calling it this, the next guy's calling it that, so kind of just whatever. But you definitely know that it's some type of like endorphin kind of serotonin type drug. Do you want to like roll another dice just to kind of see it? Maybe you need to go to a synthetic station to see if there's anything you can do with it beyond that. You know, you could find such a thing on like your ship. You would know, you'd have kind of a get up there. But yeah, you know what it is.
Okay. At this point, Omega-8 will sort of just back off, not really saying anything to the person, and then sort of look at the second person, consider it slightly, and then make their way to the black hole. On the way to the black hole, just to see if they can get any sort of info.
By the time you make your way back there, like, the room's back to normal. And you're even like, what? There's a shining light in this corner now? Like, it just seemed all very strange. Like it was almost a dream the more you think about it in your mechanical mind. I don't know if you know what dreams are, but...
I do not dream.
At this point, you get a call in, and it is Steel Fist, and we can now resume that part of the conversation.
Yeah, we need you over here. This Kriegsman is too awkward to be talking with these... Well, I guess they're his own species, but... Yeah, we need you. We have some Skatari here that you might be able to interrogate.
Omega-8 will sort of stop walking slightly, and we'll just sort of say, "Please, could you please repeat that?"
Skatari, interrogate.
Skatari, what color are their robes?
The robes you picked up are a just standard Mechanicum red. You could roll a search test to see if you'd be familiar with like a badge on their shoulder or like any distinctive Forge World marking.
Yeah, I do have knowledge.
So, okay.
That is a 3.
So 4.
No, you're not totally sure. You know the Mechanicum, they're wearing red robes, so you know they're not from like Styges 8 or some of these other... They're not from the Ice World, so... But, red robes. Kriegsman.
They're red.
I enter the comms as well, and I say, "You do realize you're on..."
Hold on. Well, that...
Or are they not? No?
Well, yeah, that's up to Veltroid. Like, was this on the general comm or not? So that would, yeah, that's up to him to know, kind of, if this was supposed to be private or just a general.
No, because it's a private. Because he already obviously failed, so I'm not gonna bring him in on the call.
Yeah. So yeah,
Alright, no
there is
problem.
no like comm to enter there.
No
for-
problem.
Yeah. Omega 8.
Noted. And Omega 8 will sort of take off their robe, which is sort of black and red on the outside, and we'll sort of turn it inside out so it looks like a standard, what you'd imagine like a standard Mechanicum cloak to be. And we'll continue to and we'll sort of turn off their nospheric presence, because all Skitarii have a nospheric presence. We'll sort of turn that off. We'll sort of modulate it to make it seem like it's just, like a regular Skitarii, and we'll make their way into the black hole.
Okay. So you make your way to the black hole, and you find the other two sitting at the table. And pretty much as soon as you sit down, you all flash your head to the door, and clearly the guy has arrived. I forgot what I call him. It was like Karik, I think.
Park.
So Karik enters the room, and he goes and sits down at the booth with the two Skitarii in it. And at that point, the Skitarii kind of, their posture almost loosens, and you can see that they're now like engaged, What do you guys want to do? Steel Fist.
Metal face. I'm talking to the Mechanicus.
These nicknames.
Maybe sit behind them and see if you can pick up any chatter or comms.
There is no need. I am connected to the noosphere. I can simply hack into it and understand what they are communicating to each other. If this Captain Karg has access to the noosphere via a translator, I would be able to read this too.
So at this point, I think roll like a tech use skill to see kind of what happens there.
Ooh, a 1.
No, like, and when you hack into it,
W2.
like you hear a screech, and like, because you guys are like clearly watching these guys, like you can notice like one of the Skitarii like look around the room real quick. Yeah.
Omega 8 will sort of put their head down and sort of turn off their eye lenses and sort of pretend like they're not active.
Steel Fist.
At this point, I walk over to the Kriegsman. Shovelhead, I need you to create a distraction. I'm going to plant a small communication device under their table, and we'll see if we can get anything from that. Mr. Dendril over here screwed up his hack protocol and has given us garbage.
What kind of distraction are you looking for?
I hand him my hammer. Maybe bang the wall a bit.
Do we need to roll a dice on how bad I break the wall?
That's up to you. Like you can. That's up to you. You could cause some havoc for sure, or you could just be like a weird distraction. That's your call.
I'll wreak some havoc.
Okay, so you grab the hammer from him, and it like you can feel it. It's heavy. It's got weight to it. You wind up with the biggest swing. Do you turn the like activation glyph on? Is that even possible?
There's no
No.
activation on it.
No activation glitch.
It's broken. It's a deactivated hammer. Grav hammer.
I roll a 3.
So you hit the wall, and even with that, like, you've done damage. You wish you would have done more. You're almost even like, what the? Like, almost disappointed in the weapon even. Like, you're like, that wasn't as cool as I thought it'd be. But, there's still, like, a weapon-sized hole in the wall now. And there's a couple people that have looked your way just from the nearby boost. But you haven't seemed to really do a good distraction.
I'm kind of stuck on what kind of distraction I should do. I'll go up to the barkeep and ask him again for a drink, and try to get him to make some corpstarch.
Yes, okay. So you walk up to him, and like right away you start being like just belligerent him. I get your tone. So roll a dice on like, what were the interaction skills again? I don't know if maybe this is like intimidate, like, because you're kind of being like,
Yeah.
I would say this is not intimidate, but it is close enough to it. So roll a dice and add that.
A 6. Oh.
Yeah. So like you've clear, like he looks at you right away, and it's just his eyes keep getting bigger and bigger. He starts scowling. You keep going on like, yeah, I've tried eating people flavored corpstarch. I've eaten human flavored corpstarch. I've eaten man flavored, like, and just his face goes red, And finally, you must have named the species, the abhuman that he's from, and he jumps across the table and lunges at you. So at this point, we've entered some combat. He's throwing punches, and he is upset. So roll a dice for me if you want.
A 1.
His first punch bounces off your metal mask, and he's clearly like, fuck, it cut him. He's got blood kind of everywhere, and you're kind of unfazed by it. It was just this one lucky kind of shot, and now, yeah. What do you do? You're kind of pinned now on the ground. He's kind of above you, raising another fist, ready to cock you.
I'll roll a dice to fling him against the table.
Okay. Do you have a combat melee skill? Because you can add that.
I do not. My only maybe a quality militaristic, but I don't think that adds anything.
Nah.
A 3.
You were able to push him off of you for sure, and kind of like get back up on your feet and square off, but you weren't able to kind of get him onto a table or any other. You're on equal footing now. So at this point, he spits on the floor and he's like, "You got 1 second to get out of my bar, and if I see you back in here again, you're dead." What do you want to do with this information?
Can I intimidate him to go back to the bar and mind his business?
Yeah, and I will even give you a +1 to that as well, because he punched you, his fist is bleeding, and like you seem completely unfazed by it and just standing there like still going on about, and I eat this kind of human starch, and like just annoying him.
Can I add my psychic fear factor?
Yeah, so let's give you let's give you a +3, because it just seems like you're so intentionally trying to aggravate him, and like it's been a build up.
That's a 4.
Oh god. So he's like he hasn't made the next move yet. You guys still seem to be on that equal footing.
I rolled a 4, that's +3, that's a 7.
Oh, you rolled a 4. Okay, so never mind.
when I say a number, it's just the base rolling number always.
Okay. Good to know.
It's just so it's not confusing for other people, so that they don't add them on themselves.
Yeah, and you don't know everyone else's bonus, so that
exactly.
Okay, cool. So you get a total of 7, and he instantly you can see that your psychic power kind of affected him, that latent kind of intimidation has hit him, and he kind of drops his shoulder, and he's no longer willing to get in a fight, and he does return to behind the bar, like muttering and sputtering, and you don't even think that his threat of him calling lackeys on you right now to kick you out is valid.
All right.
That was a big enough distraction. Let's jump over to Steelfist to see what he did during that distraction. So you said you wanted to go and plant a bug, like a audio bug.
Just under a table. Yeah. I have a stealth, so I guess I will roll my stealth.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a 6.
Oh yeah. So
7.
Yeah, you're able to get past that, slap it onto the corner of the table, slide it under the cushion. Like they're not finding that thing.
Okay, and I'm gonna go back to the mechanic and to the Mechanicus face and give him a data slate.
Okay.
Use this, and don't screw it up this time.
So you guys you work together and pull up the feed. Call name 11, do you kind of return to the table too at this point, I'm imagining?
Oh, yeah, I do return to the table.
So now the three of you are kind of huddled around this feed, and you're all kind of listening to what's happening. The human, he's like talking to the Skitari, and the Skitari haven't said anything back for a minute. Like, you can tell they're there, but like this human just seems to like to hear himself talk. You listened for about 5 minutes before, like, he's just talking about, and then I went over here and drank this guy under the table. Oh yeah, I just won the biggest lottery I've ever won, and all these kind of things. Roll like a group perception test to kind of see if you pick up on some of the things that he's revealing to be actual important details.
A 4.
Are we allowed to use skills for these group tests?
Yeah, so because me and the Skitari have knowledge, both have knowledge. So that would give us +2.
Yeah. I think only one of them at a time, or maybe what we do is like, do we do a reroll? You have if you put somebody with you, you can reroll the number, but if it's worse, that one sticks. So you get the +1 and then a reroll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So you can roll that first dice.
All right. That's a 1. By the way, I'm streaming the dice if anyone wants to see, so I'm not cheating.
Yeah, that is hilarious to say, just for the listeners.
Second dice roll is a 5.
Plus the 1, so yeah, you definitely pick up. This guy just seems to have come in a lot of money, and even these two Skatari have no care in the world about talking to him. They haven't said anything. Yeah, he seems to have come into some money recently. Most likely through gambling, but it could have also been a drinking contest or one of the other many dozen things he just said he accomplished, but definitely money's on the table in his pocket type situation. Yeah. Steelfist.
Metal face, shovel head, I say we do this. I say we get him blackout drunk, we bring him into an alleyway, and I don't know. What do you guys
How
think?
do you propose that we do this?
We feed him drinks. We go over and tell him stories of our comradeship. And maybe we can get him, obviously he likes the sound of his own voice, we can get him to tell us stories.
Call name 11.
Well, I have a few concoctions in my stim packs that will allow me to keep on drinking for longer. I could perhaps get into a drinking contest with him.
A couple plans seem to be forming with the group, and it just seems like the first step is to approach him and get into conversation. After listening to him talk, you guys feel like he's approachable. The question is, who's going to approach him first? Or all together?
Shovelhead, I will grab a few drinks. How about you go to the bathroom for a moment? Will you come out and we can start telling him stories of adventures that we might have had together?
Very well, very well.
So call name 11 goes to the bathroom, leaving the other two sitting at the table. Steelfist, what do? Do you go get the drinks, or Steelfist?
I'm gonna metal face. You watch the exits and make sure that no one else is coming towards us, and we'll keep him isolated. I go up to the bar.
Understood. And at this point, I will turn my eyes back on.
Okay. You go to the bar. You're able to get enough drinks. You ask even what's that guy's favorite drink over there? It's a friendly barkeep, so buying people drinks all the time, it's nothing odd. So you're able to kind of get that dialed in. Maybe I should roll a dice just to see if that bartender knows actually what the fuck he's talking about, how good of a bartender he is, just to see if that information.
I think that's a good idea, yeah.
And then maybe
All right.
just text me that number so only I know if that information is real.
Yup.
Okay, fun. Fun. Is that good? Is that bad? Only I know. And I guess the Kriegsman. So, you have drinks in hand, and you approach the table, and what do you say?
Good afternoon, my friend. I am a fellow miner slash inventor.
He cuts you off instantly. This guy's like, come join me, have a drink. You have drinks, and he's offering you drinks. This guy, just all of a sudden, you're overwhelmed by his, not good energy. He's just excessive. So he grabs you, kind of pulls you into the booth, and he's like, and that's when I knew that I would like you a lot. And you finally feel like you have a breath of air to say something to him again.
What brings you to this delightful place?
I make a living here. I do this, I do that. I've been around the galaxy 7 times. I'll have you what? The black hole's the only hole for me. What brings you here, friend?
Me and my Krieg friend, he's a little unstable, as you can see with the hole in the wall, and but I'm trying to take good care of him and show him a good time, and I heard that the black hole is one of these places.
Yeah, this is the place to be. There's drinks for days. I come here almost every other night. And he just starts going on another crazy tangent. And you feel like you're sitting there for another 2 minutes before you kind of get that breath of air again. This time there's no really revealing information. He's just you asked him one thing. He's pulling the Kamala Harris on you here.
I'm gonna wave over to the Kriegsman to get in here.
I come out of the bathroom. Sit down beside him, and I say, so, I've heard around here that you can drink a lot. Care for a little drinking contest?
Well, I'm already 18 beers deep today, but I don't think you are going to stand much of a chance with that. He smacks you on the shoulder. He's like, let's drink! And he's already two drinks deep. He's in it now. You didn't even have to try. So let's both roll some dice. You can start with me, and then tell me the number, and then start with you, or go with you.
Ugh, that's a 1.
Okay.
You can watch the stream constantly, by the way.
If I pull it up, I have all my notes and all my... I just literally don't have enough...
No problem.
Yeah.
I'm not making this up, but I just rolled a 6 again.
So, yeah, you... After the first, 2, he's done. You could take advantage of this guy. You could do anything you want with this guy. He's becoming more pliable and less rambly. He's almost at that stage where he's, listening to you almost while still talking in your ear off. Steel fist.
I look to the Kriegsman. I go, Shovelhead, we should bring this nice man home. He seems like he's in some, a nightcap, even though it's afternoon. How about it? Do you want to go back to your quarters? Maybe you can show us some of your cool stuff that you have.
And he just goes off about all his things. He's on board to take you back to his place. All 3 of you. So with that, he gets up, and for the first time you notice that the Skitarii also get up and follow right behind him. And you make your way to his quarters. Along the way, is there anything that you're trying to accomplish, or are you actually trying to make it to his quarters? Let's go with Omega 8.
Omega 8 over the Omega 8 over the closed headset with a private will privately communicate with the dwarf and the Kriegsman, and will say, "Be cautious of these Skitarii. They have not said a single word, and I was unable to hack into their noosphere. We still do not know what their motivations are, or why they would even spend just time with such a." And he'll pause for a second, as if searching for the right word. Fascinating individual.
Steel fist.
Well, I was hoping that maybe you'd be able to find a way to disable these Skitarii on the way to wherever we're heading. Then we can get him alone and decide what we want to do. I don't think he'll be a great fighter at this state, but that's why we have the Kriegsmen.
Very true. However, we must be cautious. Even if Skitarii appear in small numbers, you can be very sure that there are still more around.
Is there any way that you can maybe mute their cries for assistance after you disable them?
If the past is any indication, he'll sort of think about that for a second and be like, perhaps. However, I cannot guarantee that this will succeed.
So you guys kind of hatch a plan. It's very easy for you guys to kind of communicate over the comm, and that drunk guy's still just going on and on. And unaware of your kind of side conversation. So is the goal to kind of hack into their kind of network when you're kind of out of line of sight of everyone? You wait for that opportune moment and then maybe toss their body in the crate type thing?
I have an idea.
Kriegsman?
Well, I would maybe wondering maybe an EMP, as they are mostly mechanical.
Once again, you're on a starport, so you could probably definitely find one, or find the materials to craft one, but you definitely don't have one on time, and you definitely don't think you could get one on the transition. You're with him going to his place, so.
I, however, have an option for this. I contain an Auspex scrambler. I could temporarily disable their communications networks. Perhaps this would give us the time we need to finish this mission.
Yeah, so is that the plan, Steelfist?
It sounds like we could give it a try. Maybe as we go into the apartment, you can stop this Skitarii from following us in, and then we can have some privacy there.
Compliance.
That's a good plan. So you try to activate that plan perfectly. You make it to his apartment. Everyone's walking through the door perfectly single file. The Skitarii, you butt in front of the Skitarii to even kind of make this plan happen perfectly, that they're the last two. And just when it's time to close the door, what happened? Dice roll.
A 4. Do we have anything on top of that?
The Auspex scrambler, right? Sorry, what's his roll for?
I would say
For the
Auspex
to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tech use and the Auspex scrambler. Yeah.
So he has a +2.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be 6.
Okay, so you definitely, I'm gonna give it -1 because you tried to hack them already, so they're like software was running overdrive or whatever. But even with the 5, you are able to successfully make this plan happen. The door closes, they're on the outside just standing at attention, and you feel like you got a good 30 minutes out of this little maneuver. So
All right.
you're all in the room now, and this guy's like, check out this! And he's flailing like around this like floating bubble crystal thing. Oh, look at this! This is my cat Choco! And at this point, his words like becoming even more slurred. Steel Fist.
Can you give me an observation of anything dangerous enough to make it look like an accident in his place?
You look. I guess roll a search test. +1.
Search test. A 4 again.
Would knowledge give me a helping hand for that? Because that would give... Or...
I think you would use either or. You know, in this case.
So yeah, I would get a +1 to that, so it would be a 5.
Okay. So, yeah, you definitely see, like, there's a lot of weapons in here. Like, weapons mounted on walls, showcasing them. There's some in displays, ancient pistols with wooden stocks. Just all types of weird oddities. As you look closer at a lot of them, too, you really kind of put together this picture of, like, how did this guy have all this stuff? Like... There's a lot of Mechanicus gear in here, it seems like. And it just further raises in your mind, like, what is this guy's deal? Who's he tied to? Call name 11.
Is there a plasma weapon in the room?
I guess let's roll a test on that. See if there's...
A 5.
You know, yeah, there happens to be, you know, some type of plasma device in their plasma rifle.
Well, I see a plasma weapon. Perhaps I could try to overload it. A lot of us guardsmen have a tendency to explode some of them.
Steel Fist.
That sounds good, but I think we should figure out why he has all these items. Metalface, can you hack into any personal devices in the room and see if there's any information you can find on this?
Omega 8 will look around for any personal devices that could be hacked into.
Yep, you find devices everywhere, essentially, you know, data slate here, data slate there.
All right, then I'll hack into those.
Okay.
Can I get a bonus for tech use?
Yeah. So 5, how you're successfully able to hack into it. You do find information on there that there's a lot of like Mechanicus logos and stuff. There seems to be a common heraldry throughout it all too. It almost looks like a specific Forge World, but you're not familiar with it. But they're definitely, like, you keep seeing this one emblem pop up over and over, you know, a cog with a socket wrench on it type situation. You are not exactly able to figure out why it just, yeah. You have gained a new piece of the information. He's definitely tied to a Forge World and stuff like that, but you don't know what.
He is tied to a Forge World of unknown origin. This Forge World is not in any databanks that I can find. However, apart from that, I do not believe there is anything else we can learn from this man.
I look at the Kriegsman and I give him the nod. Maybe that accident should happen soon.
Hmm.
You know, this guy, this whole time, he's offering you guys drinks. It's so easy to just be in this private kind of calm and, like, you know, look over here and he's distracted over there showing you his new whatever. You know, he's so drunk at this point, half the things he's showing you isn't even what he's showing you. So, call name 11, what do you get up to?
Can I try to ask him to showcase on how his plasma weapon works? And in the hope that it kind of just malfunctions?
Yeah. Yeah, you can roll a dice to see if he's going to kind of listen to this, kind of what's going to happen.
2.
He's like, oh, the plasma gun, I use that all the time. I plasma this and and he just goes on another rant. It kind of brushes it off instantly. He's not going nowhere near that thing for you, though. Omega 8.
And I will talk over the voice channel again. Perhaps there is a second way. And I'll look around for sort of like a table or anything, you know, sort of like, imagine somewhere you'd sit whilst you're eating.
All right, roll a dice to see. You're looking around the room again, so there's something else you might pick up on, but...
Can I use my search ability?
Yep.
That's a 4.
So 5. Yeah, you definitely find what you're looking for, and the other piece of information that you find, like, appears to be some security cameras. You definitely tell you're being surveilled in this room.
We have a situation. There are security cameras on the walls. An assassination at this point would be most unwise.
Do you have any idea where the network leads to? Can you maybe attempt to check it out? And what is our time? How much time do you think we have left?
At this point, you've used about 10 minutes of time. Still plenty of time to do something else. This maneuver of hacking will maybe take another couple minutes. Nothing.
Okay, then I'd like to hack the security cameras using my tech use for an extra bonus.
That's a 3. How much tech use bonus?
Just
1. That's a 4 then.
You get a few minutes of it. You feel like, okay, yeah, I could definitely jam this and we could buy ourselves 2 minutes of time. But there's no way to erase, like, you know that you have been seen entering this room now and have been recorded. And yeah, you could blip something out and do something, but then the cameras would flick back on and it's all been recorded, so.
I could turn off the cameras for about 2 minutes, but there is no way to erase the data of us already entering the building. This would
I
leave
look
evidence.
over to the Kriegsman and I hold the device that I created in my hand. 2 minutes.
Well, I think you have a very, very good plan.
You look around the room to kind of get permission from Omega 8 as well about your plan to initiate that crazy device.
Omega Ray at this point will just turn around and just look really confused at what he's holding in his hand and then just sort of give like a cautious nod.
Okay. So, Steelfist, do you want to describe again what that was?
It creates a singularity field that allows you to be in this bubble. But all the matter inside the bubble, nothing can affect it from the outside. So you can work on like a ship and like a plasma cut panels and stuff, but you don't need an exosuit. And you can like keep anything that happens in this bubble is an isolated incident.
Interesting.
So like if you throw a grenade in there, if he's in there, he'll blow up. But all the matter that's inside of there will stay inside that device, and then it cleans up after you.
Yeah, okay.
So it just brings it back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that create a visible effect? Like, is there a blue shimmer or something, or like?
Yeah. It's a blue shimmer.
Okay.
It's a blue shimmer, and the actual device opens up. So there's like a couple metal pieces in the like corners of the orb before it will come back together again.
That's cool.
Afterwards. So
you have this crazy device in your pocket. You think it works. We think it works. Let's see if we can make it work. Basically, you're just going to huck that thing at him and put him inside, and then hopefully that...
I'm going to ask him to turn it on his own free will and step inside of it, but we're going to, like, maybe someone slips a grenade in there by accident?
Okay. Yeah, so this seems to be the plan. You know, you can coerce this guy. Roll a dice, and as long as it's not a 1, you pretty much coerce him into doing whatever you want.
It's a 2.
I first tell the Skatari the stop, like the make the blink happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll do that.
you're lining that whole plot up perfectly. So the blink happens.
Yeah.
You're like, I think I could get you to go inside. He's like, I think I could go inside. And yeah, he turns it on. He steps inside. All of a sudden, like the room feels eerily silent because there's no more. There's no more drunk guy just yammering at you. And yeah, he's inside and he's still talking and waving and flailing. So what's the next move?
If there's any grenades on the wall, am I allowed to just grab them?
I think
chuck a few
guys
inside.
have some standard, especially like you would have your guardsman kit that I imagine have the frag cracks.
I'll pull a crack grenade out of my backpack and chuck it inside.
Yeah, roll a dice and let's see how that goes. You use the word chuck in my mind. That's
Chuck. I'm just casually chucking it in there.
don't roll a 1.
I rolled a 5.
Yeah, so you're easily able to kind of roll this into there. 3, 2, boom! You guys once again don't hear anything. It's a very surreal feeling. Oh no, we got to see if this piece of technology works. You almost got me.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. So
It's a 5 again.
And I have a 1 for tech use.
Yeah, so this
So it's a
device
6.
works perfectly as planned. The explosion is fully encompassed and encased, and like as the shrapnel and like mess in the explosion like fades, the device shrinks back down into nothing, and it's like nothing even happened. And now the 3 of you are just standing in that room. that is oddly clean and quiet. 1 minute later, you know the cameras are going to turn back on. So, Omega 8.
Omega 8 will try and overcharge the plasma weapon, and and at the same time we'll tell the dwarf and get that device out of here immediately. We are going to make this seem as if he died in a plasma explosion.
Okay. Yeah, you almost think that if you kind of explode this room a bit, it'll mess up the camera system and the footage and all that kind of thing, and kind of just do a really big package deal. Now, does the crew agree with you wanting to do this? We're getting some. Yep. Okay, so that's the plan. So let's roll a dice to see if you can affect this plasma gun and make it a big enough explosion to do what you and hope.
Can I use my
It's a
tech
four.
use and my mecha dendrites for this?
I will give you +1 to the roll, and then also I'll let you know if it actually, like, before you actually do it, you will know for sure if it's going to be enough to actually do what you need to do. So it's kind of like
It's a 4.
yeah. So
The roll is a 4.
you know you can't quite make the explosion big enough. Maybe if you track down exactly where the camera was, the feed was, all that, you could place the plasma gun there and create a ricochet, but you're running out of time, unfortunately. So you don't think that plan's going to work.
I'm just going to say, screw it, and then just going to overcharge it anyway and just chuck it into the room, and then say, run.
Yeah. And then let's just see the dice roll on the plasma gun.
And the explosion?
Yeah, on the explosion.
A 6. That's a 6.
In true Imperial plasma gun fashion, that motherfucker explodes way more than you ever thought possible. With your +1 bonus, that thing was like, holy block hell you just created. So you guys leave, and you just book it out of there, like you all kind of scatter like ducks in the wild there. A minute later, you know that camera's about to flick on, but before it does, a rattle kind of rocks your portion of the space station. So as you all scatter to the wild kind of corners of the ship, you think to yourself different thoughts, and we'll go around before we close out on this climactic end, your final thought. We'll start with Omega 8.
Omega 8 will just be wondering at this point how we could have been so off with the calculations for the explosion radius.
Steel Fist, how about you?
Oh man, this device is gonna get me so much money. I even got the guy he wanted dead inside of it. Oh! I'm just gonna be freaking out a little bit because I had no idea that it would actually work.
Yeah. And the Kriegsman?
Well, that was a true guardsman fashion of an explosion.
And with that, we're going to end today's session. What a climactic end. That was chaos. In the next session, who knows what's going to happen, whether you guys go to the Rogue Trader and refresh. But yeah, let's just go around the table. Thanks for joining us. Dark Melon, who played Omega 8, your character is getting interesting. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Icarus, call name 11. The Kriegsman, goodness gracious, do I ever hate your character, but you remind me of a guy I once knew called Eric, and his characters of just, fuck that guy. But I love playing with people like that. It makes it interesting.
Yeah, I was really trying my best to stay true to the imperialistic nature and kind of xenophobic.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's classic. And then Steel Fist, yeah, you're coming up with the crazy devices that I do like that. And it seems like there's maybe a leader forming in the group, potentially, somebody willing to take charge. So we'll see how that kind of plays. Jax, who played Echo, thanks for joining us. Well, thanks, everyone, and we will see you all on the next episode of Stone and Steel. We'll see what shenanigans these guys get up to. Adios.
Adios.
Bye-bye.